Hello, what's up guys, welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, my name is Manu. In today's video we're going to be creating an image resize application. So make sure you get a bunch of images you're going to be testing with, and then just create a file called script.py and make sure they are all in the same folder or directory. So I'm going to show you how the application works first. So we're going to do Python, and then we're going to call the name of the file. So where I wrote, let me do dir. So the name of my file is python.py. Okay, I wrote it earlier so I can run it and show you. So .py. So if I want to resize everything in directory, I'm going to use dot. But if I want to resize a particular file, I'm going to do 2.png for example. And then I want the width to be 500 and I want the height to be 500. So if I run this, it says image resize. Now if I do dir, you see we have the image here, resize 2.png. So let me show you the file. So as you can see, this is the file over here. The file resize. This is it. But if I do this and then I use a dot instead, now it's gonna resize everything in that directory. So as you can see, if I come, it even resize the image, it resize that first. As you can see, it resized 1 2 3 and then resize this one again, resize 2. Okay, so we're gonna delete all this. Okay, I'm gonna cancel that. So that's the application we're gonna be building. So but before we take a step into this tutorial, make sure you give this video a thumbs up so YouTube recommends it to other people as well so they can learn, and make sure you click the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you get update on my next epic content. So we're gonna cancel this and let's get into the video. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open containing folder. Okay, and then make sure your file is here and a bunch of images, they're all in this folder. And if you're on Mac or Linux, right click and open in terminal. But if you're on Windows like I am, just click here and make sure all of this are lighted and type cmd. Okay, when you press enter, then we should have this open in that same folder or directory. So we're gonna cancel this. I have this open before. Okay, let me show you. So I have this open already. I've just to install, we're gonna make use of a third-party library called Pillow. Is this for dealing with images? So to install it, all you have to do is just do pip install Pillow, and then it's gonna install it. So don't worry about this. This was an error that occurred while I was trying to install it from my internet, but don't worry about that. Just pip install Pillow, and you should just make sure it was successfully installed. Okay, so we have that there, and let's check if that works. So after I install it, we're gonna do from pil import Pillow. We're gonna save that, and then we're gonna come back here and do Python script.py to make sure it works. Okay, says cannot import name. Oh, sorry. We're gonna be making use of image rather. Okay, that was a mistake. So to import from the Pillow we just installed, you use from pil Python imaging library pil import image. So that's how you import from the Pillow we just installed. So we're gonna come up here, and then you see it works well. Okay, so that works, and then we're gonna comment. Now the first thing you want to do is you want to decide on how you're gonna get your input from the user. Just like you saw, I got my input from the command prompt, but you can also make use of the popular Python input function. So it depends on whatever I want to use, but in this tutorial we're gonna be making use of the command prompt. Okay, so to do that we're gonna need this sys library, sys. Okay, and the first thing we want to do is we're gonna print sys.arg. I want to show you something. So I'm gonna come here and run the script again and pass a bunch of things to it here. So I'm gonna do 600 blah blah blah, just random stuff here. So when I run this, you notice this sys.arg gives me everything after this Python here, the name of the file, the file, and then other things here. Okay, so that's what we want. That's the way I got my input from the command prompts. So now we know how we are getting our inputs. We'll be expecting just 4 items in the list: the name of the file, the name of the file we want to resize, the name, the width of the file, and the height we want to resize to. Okay, so now we're gonna do if len 6.arg is equals to 4, which is what we're expecting: the name of the Python file, the name of the file we want to resize, width and height. That's 4 items. So we're gonna do something else. We're gonna print run the file, run the code in this format. So we're gonna tell them how to run it, and then we're gonna print Python script.py and then the name of the file. They basically just want to show them how to run it in case they didn't get it right. So we're gonna do Python script.py image width and image height. Okay, so that should run it in this way. So if I run this now, it's gonna pass because there are actually 4 items in the list. But if I run it with less than 4 or greater than 4 items, it's just gonna print this. Okay, so they know how to run it. Now since we have that in place, what we want to do here is we're gonna write a try except block. Okay, try except, let's use this one. So what we want to do here is, now we know where our image name is, our image width, and where our image size is. So we're gonna create variables for all of that. We're gonna say image name is 6.argv, the second item in the list, which is at index of 1. Okay, for example, if I do python script dot py and I give it, for example, 1.png 500, no need for a comma. Okay, let me print 6.argv here so we can see it. I'm gonna print 6.argv and run the file again. Okay, so alt tab to switch between windows so fast like that. Just press alt tab, you should be able to switch so fast. So as you can see, this is at index of 1. So my image is at index of 1. The width is at index of 2, and the height is at index of 3. 0 1 2 3 rather. Now we've gotten information we need. Now how do we resize the image? So as you saw, one feature I have in this my application is if you use the dot, it resizes everything in that folder, in this folder. But if you give it a specific file name, then a specific name, then it's going to resize that image alone. So we're going to create a variable here called, okay, extensions. So we have a list of files we can rename only. So for example, if you press dot and I have a Python file in that directory, it shouldn't try resizing it or it will get an error. So we're going to give it a list of Python file extensions you can deal with. So we're going to do .jpeg, .png, .gif. Okay, so these are the list of files images you can work with. You can add more to it if you want. You're going to see the reason why we have this in a minute, but we'll get that to that later. So now we have our image name, width, and height. Next thing we want to do is we're going to call a function called resize image, and we're going to define this function up here. So we're going to do define resize image. The function is going to take the name of the image, the width to resize to, and the height to resize to. But before we do that, let's do something over here. So we're going to say if image name, remember, if the name is equals to dots, then we want to resize everything. Else that means they give us a specific file name, then we want to resize just that image itself. So we're going to have two functions here. Depends on how you want to do it. But before we get to that, let's just write the code for resizing an image, and then we'll decide on how to do it. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to show you how you develop code as a beginner, that you won't always write the perfect code at the first instance. Normally I could just write the code I have already and give you the best or a very good format and just give you the code and then you follow up. But I want to show you the step you take in writing code like this, decisions you make in developing a better code. So we're gonna deal with one year for now. So we're gonna pass image name. So when we deal with this one, we're going to decide on how we're going to deal with multiple images. Okay, so you take a step at a time. Resize one image first. So to resize an image, you have to open it first. So we're going to say image. We're going to call this image, and then we're going to say image. Now we're making use of this image here function here, and then we're going to do image.open, okay, and then the image name that opens it. Okay, then we're going to print image. Now we're gonna try run this code on this one.jpg. It should get to this point, okay, and then it should print this out to me. So we're gonna come here and then we're gonna run it again. One.png, okay, no one.png here, so we're gonna do two.png from here, okay. Now I'm gonna press enter. As you can see, this is it there. It works with no error. So we're gonna come down here. Then we're gonna say, so to resize the image, the way you do it is you do image dot resize. Is as simple as this. Just image dot resize, then open another bracket here, parentheses, and then the width of the image and the height of the image you want to resize it to. It's as simple as that. And then whenever you resize an image, there's a possibility that the edges will not be smooth as before anymore. So to make the edges smooth, all you have to do is just do image dot anti-alias, say anti-alias rather, okay. So that should make the edges smooth a little bit back to normal, okay. So it's not necessary to use this here. This is optional. And then whenever I resize the image, you need to resave it, okay. So we're gonna say image just save. Now when we want to save it, now we're not going to save it as the original image in case we want to make use of that later. So we're going to save it as resize underscore then plus the image name, so plus image dot file name. Okay, so this image of file name is going to return the image name, or you can also use this name whatever you choose to use. Okay, but before we resize that, let me comment this, and then I'm going to run print image dot file name, so we see what it returns. If I run this now, so 2.png, so it works as well as we want it. So that's image just saved, then this, and that should work. That should resize the image. So I'm going to save it down and run it. So if I run it, so it says an initializer is required. I know where that is from. So where this error is from is this width and height. Whenever we get it from this lender sys.arg variable, it's actually returning a string. If you check it here, it says returning a string, so we need to convert it to an integer. So when you are developing code at first, you might hit this error, so you don't have to worry, you are not always perfect. So just, can you imagine? So we're gonna do that for the int and this int and this. Okay, so the way I'm gonna develop it is different from where someone else will develop it from scratch, but I'm just showing the process you might take as a beginner to develop it. So now we have this, we shouldn't get that error anymore. So if I run a file, then you see we have a resized image here. So if I check, this is 2.png and this is this, but they still look the same. So I'm gonna open this in containing folder and let's see if we actually resized it. Whoa, okay, so as you can see, it did not resize it. It's still the same image as before, same size, see the same thing. So what happened now? Let's look at it. So whenever I resize this image, this returns a new image object. Okay, so when I say image just save, what I'm doing here is I'm just saving this image again. So to be able to resize it well, we're gonna come here and then say new image, and then it's the new image we're gonna save instead. Okay, so if I save it now, let's print. I'm gonna print image resize saved as, and then we're gonna do, let's just put it here, resize size plus image of file name. Okay, so now if I run the file again, let's open this. If I run the file again, this is image resize as resize2.png. So if I come here now, you see it as resize the image. So that works now. So we've been able to resize one image successfully. Now let's deal with resizing all the images in the folder. So I'm going to delete this, so delete this, and then so if you have dots, what we want to do now is want to get all the file, want to get a list of all the files in the directory that ends with these extensions. Now you should know why we have these extensions tuple. So we're gonna check all the files in the list in the directory and then get those with that ends with .png, .jpeg or .gif. So we're gonna say for files, for file in, so to get it we're gonna make use of the OS library, built-in library. So it's built in, just like this. We're gonna do import, oh my, import OS. To get it, all you have to do is just do OS the list there, and that's all you need. So if I come here now, let's run it, the Python interpreter here, and let's import OS the list dir. As you can see, it lists everything in the file, in the directory or folder rather. So we're gonna say for file in OS the list dir. Now we're gonna say if file. So how do we get the file extension? Okay, so we can write long code, you can split it where we have the dot and then get the file name. But the way I'm gonna do it is I'm gonna do if OS, I'm gonna be using the OS, the built-in library again to split this. Okay, so you might not know this while you're developing, but of course you can always do your research. So if OS does split text, so I'm gonna do file, that will be the name of the file. Now what this does, it returns a list containing the name of the file and then the extension of the file. So I'm gonna take the second one, which is 1. So let me show you that here. Okay, so I'm gonna say os dot split text dot path, rather dot path dot split text there. Okay, let's see if it will work with on the JPEG. Okay, so if I do this, as you can see, it returns a tuple rather. Okay, 1 and then the extension of the file. So this is the one we want to get. So we're gonna do 1 index of 1 to get the first one, and then if this extension is in here, Remember, this is all in capital letter, so we have to change this to capital letter. So we're gonna do dot upper, so that changes that extension to capital letter here. So we're gonna do say if this is in the extensions tuple, then we want to resize the file. So we're gonna call our function resize image, the name of the file, that's image name, the width, and then the height. And then you see this should work. If you get any error, then we'll deal with errors at the end of the video, but let's see if this works first. So I'm gonna close this, Ctrl Z, and then we're gonna run it again, but this time with a dot. If I do this, so it says permission denied dot. Let's see, sorry, oh sorry, this is supposed to be file. Remember, we want to resize the files in the directory rather. So if the file ends with it's an image, so if the file is an image, then we want to resize the file itself, not the dot. So yeah, I mistakenly imputed dot as the file name. Okay, so let's save that and run it again. So if I run it now, you see it resized everything in that file except from this. Okay, so it resized everything. If I come here, we should see the difference clearly. 1 2 3 resize 1 2 3. Okay, so we're able to resize our image. Now let's talk about errors. For example, if I do this and I give it a file name that doesn't exist, if I do adf.png, you see we have a find not found error. Okay, so we don't want error to, or else like this will always happen this way. So we're gonna say except. So if you don't know how handling exceptions work, I'm gonna leave a link in the description below to watch my video on handling exceptions. I'll put a card up here. You should see it right now. So I'm gonna do except find not found error. Then we're gonna come and say print file doesn't exist or isn't in this folder. Okay, so we want to give the user a more useful error message. Okay, so if I run it now, we should see file doesn't exist or isn't in this folder. So I'm gonna cancel this so we don't keep getting this. And now what if I run it with just this? Oh, we're gonna get an error, of course. So value error, you can undo that as well, except value error. I'm gonna say print invalid width and height provided. So if I run this again, say invalid with an height provided. So you can deal with there's an error that is most likely to occur maybe somewhere along the road. So we're going to do OS error. Okay, so if we have error, rename the file. So imagine we have a file that is .jpeg. For example, there are some files like the .png that I cannot resize, like a file I saw. I deleted it already, but I think I should have showed you that. But it's gonna return an OS error if you cannot return the file. So we're gonna say print error resizing the file. Okay, so in case the file cannot be renamed, there are some files like that cannot be resized rather. So we're gonna return this. So now we've handled almost all the exceptions, and now we have one function here, and we have a for loop that handles this for this, and then we have, if it's just a find, then we have this. So that works well. Now if I run it now, we have better error messages. And if I do 2.png and I want to resize 1000 by 1000, okay, we don't need a comma, but if I use a comma there, invalid width and height provided. Okay, so let's put make sure no comma is added. You might need this. So it depends on how you want to return these messages. Okay, I feel you should understand this way. So invalid width and height provided, Python script.py find image width and image height. So if they have a comma, they know they're not supposed to add a comma from this. Okay, or we can also leave that there. So now we have our file all done and dusted, and it works well. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. It's gonna help me a lot. And make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell. And thanks for watching so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out, guys.